Hi there, welcome to the tour. Today we're looking at my island, Sunbeam. This is my third complete island, and I would describe the theme as a little bit magical, a little bit surreal, and a little bit whimsical. As you can see, we are set at night time in this island. This is the first time I've done this, and I wanted to create something that had a lot of kind of extra items that added light and a little bit of that magical touch, so the stars and the moon felt like they helped add to that atmosphere. As we get going on the tour, you'll see that the island is pretty natural. It has a lot of trees, flowers, terraforming and whatnot. And as you can see here, we are using a blue and white theme. So through the flowers, the landscaping, and the items, everything is set in that color palette. Throughout the island, I left some little gift drops around that kind of help add to the atmosphere. So fun little items that you can pick up and grab. The entrance you can see is here pretty close to resident services, so just spent a little bit of time terraforming to set the mood. And let's take a look at the custom design portal. I did make some more custom codes for this build. You can see stars, some colors, windows, more starry skies, some stripes and dotted patterns that are set in that blue. And then everything else above that top line is from my first island custom code, so they're still available, but just that top line is specific to today's island tour. Right off resident services here, we just have like a tiny little micro build, so this little waterfall moment. I love the light on the telephone booth. It just seems so warm and inviting, especially when you set it outside at night on the island. And for the first big build on this island, we're gonna go to the left here. And I've got what I'm calling like a jewel mine or a gem mine. So I like this idea that, because this is kind of a magical item, maybe they have these accesses to these like beautiful blue jewels here on the island. So they've got this whole mine where you can dig up these like beautiful magical artifacts. I found this awesome custom code that just looks like the perfect shiny, like faceted jewels that are I'm using both on the floor and on simple panels to create these kind of caves that look very inviting and look like they have magical stuff on the inside. Here we're just taking a quick spin on the beaches. I kept the beaches very simple. I think there's one or two places where but mostly you'll just see a little bit of flowers. And here's my avatar that's on the island. Ran into her pretty quick here today. So you can see we can circle right back around to the entrance into resident services from that first build. And we have another gift here. And then we move into the next area, which is, I think of it like the shopping district. So I have some panel builds here that look like maybe a little cafe or a dessert area. And then moving over to the left, this is where we have Able Sister. So I kind of tucked her away behind some of our build items to keep the color palette intact. And then on the pier, we have a little bit of an outdoor flower shop. Moving along, we go up this staircase, and up here is a little bit of a transition area, so we have a little bit of a picnic set up with some teddy bears. And as you come over this bridge is our next big build, and I love this one so much. It's a circus. I guess I would consider it a night circus, and I had a lot of fun building this one. and really figuring out what items could come together to create something that looked really cohesive as a big circus tent. And then I loved adding all these bubble machines, so it really felt extra surreal, like it maybe has a little bit of an under the sea vibe. Pick up our next present here, which is a balloon, which is perfect for the circus environment at this point of the tour. And as we kind of go down and actually enter the arena, we've got candy, flowers, and then of course we can get a little bit closer to the circus tent. And I loved adding all the new items, the actual fair rides and the little duck game in the background here. So just creating something that really felt like a full comprehensive circus with rides and food and snacks and desserts. And from here we'll backtrack a little bit to the shopping district area. Put away our balloon and move up. So this is a little bit of an area behind resident services. And you can see right tucked up here we have a rock garden. And this leads us into the next big build, which is what I'm calling the Galaxy Bridge. So I see so many awesome land bridges from other creators and I've never done one. And I had this idea that maybe the bridge could be spanning kind of this portal into another galaxy. So the idea is you're kind of walking over this open air portal that leads you down into like a beautiful starry sky that you can kind of see from above, but you're kind of safely contained from on this land bridge. So using some custom codes I made along with lots and lots of star items and moons to kind of create this interstellar, surreal little scene from space. And the Galaxy Bridge leads to our first resident home. So there's 2 residences on this island, and this house I kind of fashioned into like a bit of a fancy mansion. I had a lot of fun building this up with simple panels and whatnot to make it look even larger than life. And off to the side here you can see there's a little bit of a patio with terraces, garden terraces. So as we go inside, you'll see that this is where some of the more surreal items, the surreal theme comes to play. So this whole house is created with each room has its own little theme. And you walk into this first one and we're still kind of in that interstellar galaxy theme, using these items to make this really atmospheric, surreal landing place where you can kind of go to each room from here. So as we go into the left, we see that this room is fashioned as kind of a desert theme. We've got pyramids, we've got lots of gold items. I'm using these archways to kind of create, it's almost like you're transported to a different time and place. So each room has its own theme like this, where you're kind of transported to a new place. So if we make our way to the next portal, if you will, you see that this next room is kind of a winter feeling, a Northern Lights campsite where you're kind of out in the cold air, experiencing the beautifulness of the Aurora Borealis. And in our third room off the main floor, we have an under the sea room. So We've got shells and buried treasure and fish, and I love how the glowing moss items in pink give this room a really like warm pink glow. And you can see we've got the kind of glowing seaweed up on the ceiling and the sand on the floor. Next up is the basement room. And this one has a bit of a Mount Meadows vibe to it. And you can see that through adding things like the chandelier and keeping some of the wallpaper more of this wood paneling, I've made these not necessarily exactly like you're fully outdoors, but more like you're in some sort of special magical place that can combine the two to transport you to a certain geographical area or a certain feeling. And the last room of this house is upstairs. And here we have a sort of glowing, swampy forest vibe. So this one maybe feels even a little more magical with the moon in the corner and the giant vines. Maybe something a little bit magical is happening with the spell book and a timer deep in the woods here. So that's the first resident. And like I said, I had a lot of fun just coming up with these different environments and really playing with that surreal aspect of the island theme. So if we swing around down this little path, we come to our next area of the island, and you can see on the ground there's this custom pathing code. It looks like kind of a big cloud, and it brings you to this overlook where the cloud castle is revealed. So I was inspired by another creator I saw on a YouTube video where they had kind of this huge cloud area with all these balloons and stuff in the sky, and I really love that idea, so I took it a step further and added kind of a cloud. So this idea that this castle is kind of floating in the clouds and it's surrounded by balloons and stars and just floating up there in the clouds. And as you keep moving, then we come to the villager neighborhood. So I've arranged this so it's pretty organic, but all the houses are clustered together on this kind of area of the island. And as you can see, everything is following that blue and white theme with all the villager houses. So everybody's decorated. So if you do visit the DA, make sure you pop inside villager houses if you want. So we'll just go in whoever's home right now. And the first up is we have Blanche. So I had a fun time making all the villager houses in similar themes. I always try to make some sort of blue, add some blue to the decor. So here for Blanche, her wallpaper's that deep blue floral wallpaper, and she just kind of has a very elegant little home here. And as we keep moving through the neighborhood, we see that quite a few people aren't home, but all throughout the island is scattered lots of natural items, and we've got butterfly models and glowing moss and hyacinth lamps and all sorts of stuff that just gives this like very elegant blue and white theme. We have another present here. We have some bubbles. Tucked behind the neighborhood, we have a museum. Nothing crazy here. Another villager house. And then at the back of the island, as you go down this natural staircase, you're transported to this little bit of a dining picnic area. It's lots of places to sit and have a nice cup of tea or maybe a little dessert, and it's kind of tucked away in this big flower field that's sitting against the hidden beach. A really nice place to look up at the stars. And then if we keep moving along through the villager neighborhood area, you'll also note that I have little dollhouses kind of scattered around, so it's this idea that there's maybe even something a little bit magical, like some fairies or something living in these smaller houses that are scattered throughout the neighborhood. Magical touches like wells and glowing balloons. And we'll visit our next villager house. I'm thinking this is Marshall. Yes. Our next villager house is Ozzy. His is a little bit more light and bright, but you can still see we've got a blue here. He's like a little bit of a tinkerer. And at this point of the video, I'm realizing that I never pulled up my map or my villager list, so a little late, but better than never. And you can see that we're over on the right side where all the villagers are. And we've pretty thoroughly explored that left side of the island already in this tour. All my villagers have a pretty neutral tone to them, so they're white or black or gray. And you'll have seen on the map, if we just backtrack a quick second here, if we go over the bridge, we will reach the second main residence. And I love this little terraforming area with the bridge moment over into kind of the yard here. So this residence is tucked away on a little bit of a peninsula against the cliff, so even though it's part of the neighborhood, it feels a little bit like it has its own special place. Just tucked amongst all these waterfalls. In this residence, I made as a bit of a primary home for my main character on the island. So this one is a lot less surreal, but also still has a lot of fun touches. So it's a very elegant home that has maybe little whimsical touches here and there. So you can see there's some butterflies kind of flying around those plants in our main room here. So we've got a library and kind of a sitting area, and looking out the windows into this beautiful misty forest. tucked away behind the partition there, we just have a little bit of a DIY workspace. And if we move into our first room off the main floor here, we have a painting studio. So I like the idea of, this main residence being a little bit creative, artful. So this is a space, studio space where they can kind of sit down and paint and be creative. We've got the still life set up. We've got paintings all over the place. Something in progress. And the next room is a bathroom. So, it's not the most traditional bathroom, but it's really leading into this magical, surreal, elegant feeling. So I love having kind of these windows that just lead off into a starry sky. This like beautiful gold bathtub in the middle. And the candles and the lights and the steam. All giving into that ambiance. From here we'll go upstairs, and this is kind of the primary bedroom. And you can see through partition walls and columns we're creating a very elegant space that has a lot of drama to it. There's a balcony tucked away in the corner here where you're once again looking off into that misty forest. The whole house, you can see, has those same tones of blue and white sprinkled throughout, although the house has kind of a lot more black as well. And then as we move into the basement, you can see that we're really bringing home that magical theme here, because this is almost like a magician's lair of sorts. There's potions brewing off to the side. There's, a crystal ball and lots of books and these little magical touches that are kind of glowing and moving along with the whole room. So a little bit darker down here, but still keeping that dark navy feel, and the glowing items really lead to a sense of magic being practiced. And that's it for the second residence. So as we pop back out, we'll just continue on the island. There's just a few other areas here that we'll look at. Here's our second resident, Connor. Oh, we just caught a little shooting star behind us. And we've got some more resident homes to look at. Here's Fang's house. Another gift dropped over here. A little sweet treat. And then just a quick chat with Flurry while we're here. So over here we have Whitney's house, but next to her we have a little bit of a lookout that goes back to that primary residence, which is surrounded by that river. So, you know, off in the distance you can kind of see it from afar. And we'll pop in her house. I think this is the last villager house that we'll look at today. I really love how Whitney's turned out. It has this very like boho chic vibe with the wedding wall and the nice artwork and the candles. And before we exit the villager neighborhood area, there's a few other things to look at. So down here in front we have a little bit of an elegant pond moment and a place to sit next to the ocean. And once again, it's just pretty empty, but we do have tucked over here the campsite. So it's this fun little idea where we put a couple other kids' tents around it and some telescopes. So it's a nice little stargazing spot on the beach where you can set up a tent and look at the night sky. And then the dock is simply decorated to have a little bit of string lights and a little place where you can hop on one cabins on the island. So now as we cross over this bridge, you can once again see that residence home just peeking out in the background behind that river. And just taking a look at some of the terraforming in the area. To the left here you can see we're back at the entrance, so we're kind of in the middle of the island now, and this is the last little area we'll look at. And we've got this bridge and this staircase that's kind of in between these sunken cliffs and these waterfalls, and it leads you up into what I call the glowing forest. So I tried to make a forest area that was really packed with trees, and then I used lots of wedding candles to give it this very magical look, and floating blocks from the Mario set to kind of put some of these candles up in the trees so that they're kind of floating throughout the forest as well as on the forest floor. And right in the middle, this path leads you straight to this wishing well. And I want this to really look like something you might stumble upon in the woods, something a little bit magical and mysterious, surrounded by this arch, and you can see there's even a few coins, and there's rabbits and candles and black flowers, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a magical feeling. And if you go down this Mario pipe that's right behind it, so kind of this idea that you're tumbling down the wishing well. it will bring you to the secret room that simulates the idea that you're now at the bottom of this magical wishing well. So when you're down here, it's it's foggy and it's moist, and there's coins littered at the bottom, and there's some treasure, and there's this sword just kind of glowing and sparkling in the middle of this secret spot you found. So you can kind of come up with whatever the lore you think is here, but I just thought it was a really fun touch of a little magical place you could discover on the island. If you remember, in the main house tour, there was that back middle room off the main that we didn't actually explore. It was walled off, so this is the only way you can access that last room. And when you finish your adventure, you can kind of be popped right back out of the well. And just to give you a sense of where we're at, if we go back here, now we're back to the Cloud Castle, so that's where this kind of connects right in the middle of the island. And as we backtrack, you can see that it brings us right back to the entrance. And here, I just wanted to double check that there wasn't anywhere that we left unexplored. And there wasn't. So I think this is where we're going to end the tour today. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I build and play for my own enjoyment, but I do love documenting and sharing my creations. So please let me know what you think, and thanks again. Bye now.